All right, guys. So I got something different for you. So I got a Ruger that I'm gonna go ahead and stain it from whatever this is, the natural complete from the factory look into a black finish. Now it's a stain. I'm not gonna paint it, so I'm gonna leave it, I guess, intact to what it already is. I'm not gonna change it from stain to paint. So the basic tools you're gonna need is a bucket, some stripper. You're gonna have this is your finish, and this is the color I'm gonna go use. It's called 5040 black. So it's from it's a concentrate. It's a liquid stain. So it's either you could either use it with water like as a base or with alcohol. You need some acetone for cleaning up the stripper, some tapes, some Allen keys, obviously some dusters, just need to lather that up, some gloves, rags, and sandpaper. I'm using 180 and 400. That'll be for your finish. So yeah, let's start this. First, we're gonna start off by taking off the scope. All right, so before I forget, if you see this hole right here, it's a metallic piece. I'm gonna tape it up and cut it around it. And I don't want any stain in here. I don't want build up of anything, because other way you won't even be able to see this. I am gonna stain this part though. So wherever you see this, I don't know if you can tell, there's a little, this piece right here. I'm gonna go and tape it going downward, so when I put the magazine, it'll be black. So there's a little crevice as well, this in here as well, just not this part, not where the barrel's gonna rest. That's what I don't want. So let's cover this up. Now we're actually ready to put on the stripper. So go ahead, get some. The stripper should take a while, maybe 15 minutes to start activating. So just wipe it on, let it build up. This isn't a really heavy coating, so I doubt it'll take a long time to work. Um, they don't really use the old oil stuff where that stuff, I mean, was extremely freaking difficult to take off. Like you can even see it build up, starting to work right there. You see that? Even just with the hairbrush, it's coming off. So I'm gonna stop talking and I'm just gonna go ahead and finish this off. All right, so we're gonna work on the colors now. We're gonna be using color tone liquid concentrate. So liquid stain. So pretty much this is water soluble and also denatured alcohol soluble. So what does this mean? It means you could be using alcohol, denatured alcohol, and water. Okay. So the instructions for stain, it says that you need 2 quarts of 2 ounces for every 2 quarts. So I'm not gonna use a complete quart of this. So roughly this was about a quart of paint, maybe a little bit less, but I don't mind. I'm gonna fill about half. So because I technically did half a quart, and this is enough for 2 quarts, so about half a gallon, that means this would be enough for 1 quart. I'm using half, so mine's gonna be about right there that I'm gonna use and stain. So go ahead and shake it. Well, it needs to be cut, so let me cut it. Okay. So remember, we're gonna get about right there. All right, that should be enough. You probably can't see in the light, but over here, if I'm gonna put it on in the light, you can see it over there in the sun. So we're gonna let that maneuver, we're gonna let that build up over time. I'm gonna cover it with this just to make sure it doesn't dry out, and I don't want to end up spilling it, so cover it up. All right, so it's finally dry. It's been out there for about an hour, and let's start getting to the sanding part. So obviously I'm gonna start off with the light coat. This is 180, you could do 220. And then for the finish, I'm gonna use 400. You can also use 320. I just have 400 on me, so that's what I'm gonna use. Always go with the grain, always. All right, after I'm done sanding it, I like to run a little bit of acetone one more final time. Leave it out in the sun again and let it dry out naturally. This is gonna help knock down any more extra color that the rifle might have, any more like residue that was left behind that you didn't see the first time. So if you like as clean as possible. I want you to be able to notice the rifle stock. This is not clean. I'm not fine. Close the video. As long as I remove off, light on it, and set it up. Most of the stuff you have any oil popping out over here. So because something here, so one thing you get used. And everybody don't know. This is the first time out. And again, the take care of it. You can take it off. But you want to make sure you got it really well. Right comes the staining part. So remember to actually mix your stain really well. So get a stir stick, get what you got to get. And now you want some gloves and some clean rags for this. Okay, so let's start. And you're gonna want one for the stain part and one for cleaning up, okay? So let's add it, and we're gonna do multiple layers. This is gonna get it that look we want. So make sure it's constantly wet so it doesn't dry up on you. And don't expect it to look good the first coat. Remember, this is a multiple coat process. So give everything a nice coat. We're gonna come back again once we put it out in the sun and give it another coat. So continue the process. And constantly be checking for any like missed spots. And on top of that, like I mentioned before, give everything a nice little, even the inside. I know that you guys aren't gonna do this. You just kind of want to blend it in to the new stain. So keep working. Constantly make it wet, or else this stuff will dry up on you, and that's when you're gonna have some marks. So, you know, just the word to the wise. Constantly be making sure it's cool. Right, and if you get any spots that are a little bit like you see some marks, just grub it, give it a nice coat again, and as long as you get it pretty fresh, you can wipe it down. It's not going to affect it. So again, if you have a little brush or something, even better, but right now rag's fine with me. I can work with it. Stuff you can't get a little stencil if you have time for that. Obviously I don't, because I'm trying to do this as fast as possible without it getting marked. Get a clean one. This is just to wipe down any of the excess. And you're gonna see right away how there's some spots drying out already. Some are taking longer than others. That's fine, it's not a problem. Okay. So once you're good, wipe down your gloves. Okay, now let's take it out for it to dry in the sun. All right, we are now going to be doing a second coat. So I want to make sure I get all of these spots that are a bit flatter or without less color. So wet your rag really good. Let that soak up. Don't worry about it. We're going to clean it up right now again. So just make sure you get all of it as covered as possible. So move fast, don't stop. Any spots that you see that you guys are missing, go back and touch them up. It's not going to affect it. It's not going to do anything bad to it. So you could revisit that spot multiple times. It's not a problem. The problem comes when you just let it dry out and it doesn't have time to actually penetrate evenly. That's when the problem occurs. So as long as you guys keep going back and forth with it, make sure it goes all over. Obviously, the more coats you do, the darker it'll get. That's my plan I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make sure everything in here gets completely sealed up and really covered well. I don't wanna see any light spots. So even with the rag, sometimes the rag can't get it, use your finger. If you can't get it with that, use a brush. Okay, wipe that down your hands. Try to grab it in a place where it won't, you won't be leaving any marks anymore. Wipe it down. And the wipe it down is not supposed to be for taking off the material. It's just supposed to be for evening out the the water, the moisture, so that you don't get super light dark spots and super light spots. So here we have second coat. I'm gonna probably do like 5 of them. I want this rifle to be super dark, guys. So we are now ready to put on our TruOil, which is your gun stock finish. All it is pretty much some linseed oil, or it put it with a little bit of natural different types of materials inside. So since we used a water-based finish or stain, we need to give it this a little light coat, a little sanding. So that's where the 420 comes into play. So I'm not gonna do this here. I don't want to dirty it. I'm gonna do it outside. So I don't think I got to go over detail with what it is. It's literally just a light finish, a light sanding. You're not taking down the color. You're just knocking down the raised grain. Okay, that's all it is. You're not sanding this down. You're just knocking out the raised grain. All right, I'm gonna stop it and I'm gonna come back when we're ready for the oil. So I'll shake it up. Your TruOil. And this can be done with just your hands, so you don't got to worry about it being brushed on. So there you go. Knock that off. Okay. So I'm gonna pretty much this brush is gonna be done with, so it's not gonna work anymore after this because it's been used multiple times. But you guys can see that how much it absorbs. So pretty much when you strip it, it's gonna take out all its natural oils, everything. And it's black, it just has like a purple tone to it, but it actually looks pretty good. So let me put some more, because I'm gonna need a lot more now that it's absorbing. So after this coat is done, after it's right, that's when you have to go ahead and color it. This one's going to be right, at least this one is over. There again here. So on those spots, that's going to go that most of so yeah. All right, so we're gonna give this stock probably like maybe five to 10 coats. I'm gonna check once I get to 5 coats. That's when I'm gonna check how much of a finish it has. All right, after you've done your first coat, what you want to do, you could either get a Scotch pad, one of those like steel metal pads. It's pretty much all it is. It's just made out of steel. It's not meant to sand this down, or the top coat is just enough to get the new layer of oil to adhere. What I'm gonna do is, since I got 400, I'm gonna get it, and I'm going to pretty much smoothen out the 400 to kind of get it to like a 800, 1,000, and you can hear the difference. So I'm gonna sand this outside, and then I'm gonna add another coat of oil to the total. I'm gonna exactly do, well, not exactly, I'm gonna do around 5 to 10 coats, and then I'm gonna actually get the finish that I want using a Scotch pad, a 00 Scotch pad. So I'm gonna go ahead and sand it. All right, now that you have it sanded, your next step is to get a tack cloth and wipe it down. This does not do anything besides just take off all the dust you got on your hands. Okay, so make sure you wipe it all down. You don't got to do the inside of it, so where the crevice or your actual upper or your receiver is going to be at, that's not it. Just do the outside of it. And I'm going to do this for about, like I said before, multiple coats. I'm not going to record that because I think with 2 of these little processes that you've seen should be enough for you to understand the process. So I'm gonna leave that right there on the side, and I'm gonna go ahead and start the next layer of oil. All right, guys, so this is the final coat
of oil that I'm going to be putting on here. So I've sanded this down with 400 grit. Pretty much this is as smooth as it's going to get with the grit. Obviously you're not going to take off the layer of oil. You're just going to be working with it. From here we're going to put the oil on and leave it at that, and we're just going to let it dry out. So right now it's going to have about its 10th coat. After this we're going to decide what type of finish you want. So let's go ahead and do it. All right, and because this is the last coat, it is no longer going to absorb a bunch of oil. Now it's just going to stay on the surface. So now you can actually just use your fingers like we did in the past couple and just rub it on. Just work with it. As you can see, it's not consuming, it's just staying on top, and that's what we want. That pretty much lets you know that it's protected as pretty much as good as it's going to get. There really is no other.
All right, guys, let's put everything back in place now that it's finished. So I was gonna do a satin finish, but honestly, this looked a lot way better. The way it finishes, it's kind of like a semi-gloss, almost going to high gloss. So I liked it. So I'm gonna keep it as that. So you can start by whatever piece you want. I'm gonna start with this stock holder or whatever that the butt is. Make sure you got a nice place to do it. You don't want to damage your coat. Now it's dry, but it's not 100% what do you call it, like cured. This will typically take a couple days to cure to the max. So anything that's like kind of sticky, it'll still stick on. It won't hold on to it, so it'll eventually peel off, but you don't want to damage it. So I'm gonna stop talking. I'm just gonna go ahead and install everything back in.